This show is produced by the Harwood Podcast Network.
Hi, I'm Cindy Harris. We love making this show available to you free of charge. And if you'd like to help us keep it that way, make a contribution to our Karma Jar or become a show sponsor. To learn more, visit our website.
Well, welcome to my garden. It's the beginning of January, and as you can see, there's not much going on. It's very windy and it's very cold. There's a teeny bit of tarragon growing in that herb pot. My strawberry pots, the leaves are turning. The hydrangeas, nothing's going on there. And the crabapple and apricot trees, bare as a bone. I did leave a few apples on the trees for the birds so they could find some food, because there is nothing left on the plum and cherry tree for them. Now, your garden may look very similar to mine, or it could be under 10 feet of snow. But you know what? Let me take you on a little tour of the garden and look and see if I might be able to find some little hidden treasures. This camellia looks like it's going to start opening up any day. My fuchsia pot, lots of fuchsias on it, and you'll notice my mandarin and my lemon tree have got lots of new fruit on it, so that is an awesome sign. And even my little lime tree in its pot, it's loaded with beautiful fruit. My winter vegetables are doing some nice growing. I've got some parsley from the summer that's still going crazy. And by the back gate, I can see a teeny little bud on this rhododendron. That's going to open in the next week or so. Over here on the side yard, I have a plot that I've been planting freesia bulbs in for the last few years, and they're starting to send their leaves out. And this beautiful pink hebe is loaded with blooms. And right by this light on the path, I found a little patch of primroses and this beautiful red cyclamen. You know, all of these plants that I've showed you come back in my garden every year. Well, I was inspired by a book that I read many years ago by an American novelist and poet by the name of May Sarton. And in her journals, she always talks about living in the Northeast and going out every day during the winter and trying to find flowers that she could put together, just a small little bouquet. So even though it's the beginning of January and it's freezing cold out, that's what I'm going to do. So here on my potting bench, I have just a little container with water, and I'm going to start with my camellia. Now, whenever you're going to put flowers in water, do make sure you take those bottom leaves off. Here's my hebe, so I'll strip that off, and this may be just a bit long, so I'm going to take a little snip, do a fresh cut on that. That looks good. And then I've got my fuchsias. Again, I'll strip the leaves, and then I'll tuck that right in. And then last, this was actually a little snippet of an evergreen plant called the licorice plant. And I just took a sprig of that. I'll strip the leaves and tuck that in. So you can see, even though it's the dead of winter here, I've got a really nice little bouquet that I can bring in the house that's nice and colorful and cheery. So once I had something pretty in the house, I decided I wanted to do something on my patio table so that when I looked out into the backyard, I could see something. And when I went to my gardening center, they had their bulbs half off. So I decided to get on my gloves and grab a terracotta pot and plant some bulbs. So these are what they had on sale. Normally you would plant your bulbs in the fall, but because these had begun to sprout a little bit, just like this, they had them at half off. So I thought, well, I'll go ahead and put some in this pot so that in early spring I'd have something nice. So I got a little saucer, and this is a shallow type pot. I didn't need anything super deep. And then I just have my potting soil. I'm going to fill this almost up to the top. Then I'm going to smooth it out with my hand and start getting my bulbs ready. Now, as I take the bulbs out of the package, you'll notice they have sort of a roundish end with a little bit of a flat bottom, and I'm just going to take and place them really close together, almost touching in a circle along the edge of the potting soil. Now you can see I have the first ring done, so I'm going to continue placing an inner ring. Again, you can see just how close these are together. When they're in a pot, you really want to do that. And then one right in the center. Then it's going to be about taking soil and covering those tulips up. And I'm just going to carefully do it until I see just about everything covered up. And then with my hand, I'm going to carefully sort of spread that soil on top, making sure it's covered. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to press the soil down. You want to set those bulbs into the dirt the best you can. So press it down pretty firmly and then grab your watering can. And we're going to give this a water. Now, when you have all this fresh potting soil in this container, many times the water kind of sits on top a little bit. And when that happens, just let it sit there for a couple of minutes. It will sort of dissipate, and then you can sprinkle water on top again. But do make sure you check the saucer to make sure that the water has indeed gone all the way through the dirt. So now I'm going to take my little pot of bulbs. I'm going to put it right in the center of my patio table. It's going to get plenty of full sun and nice rain there, but it still looks a little dull. So let me show you what I'm going to do to get some color. At the nursery, when I bought the bulbs, they had these beautiful primroses in stock because, of course, they winter over really well where I live. So I picked up a few of those, and I'm just going to place them around the outside edge of the pot. This way, I'll enjoy the beautiful color of the primroses while I'm anxiously waiting my bulbs to start popping through the dirt. One more thing I wanted to mention is that if you're interested in starting your own four-season garden, you're going to need to find out what zone you live in for planting. And if you go to our website and go to the Cindy's Four-Season Garden show notes, I'll have a link there for you so that no matter where in the world you live, you can find out what's a good zone for growing certain plants in your area. On our show notes page, I'll also have a list of all the plants as we go through the series that I have in my garden. Now, don't forget to join us on Facebook, and of course, if you have any questions, please send me an email. I'll see you next time.